Thank you and welcome to the show this morning. The topic this morning is family life and relationships. And we have with us to talk about family life and relationships Miss Thelma Sanders Hunter, who is a family life specialist with the Extension Department at Tennessee State University. And of course, Dr. Hunter, let me welcome you to the show this morning to talk about family life and relationships. And of course, before we do that, let's talk about Dr. Hunter. I think I first met you back in 1993 when we had you on this television show, and at that time you were Thelma Sanders, but now you are Dr. Thelma Sanders Hunter. And of course, we're certainly happy to have you here. But let's talk about your background and some of the things that eventually led you to us this morning.
Most certainly, and thank you for inviting me back again. I am a native Nashvilleian, and as you know, I've been here before, and I am with the Cooperative Extension Program, and I attended Tennessee State University, where I received the undergraduate degree and 2 graduate degrees. So I have to say that the university has really been kind to me and have afforded me opportunities to advance. My background in part consists of my having been an extension fellow with the U.S. Department of Agriculture, where I worked with national program leaders in developing initiatives with regards to my programmatic area. And I also have served as a NAILD, that's an acronym for National Extension Leadership Development intern, where I graduated in the year 2001. And that came under the auspices of Colorado State University at Fort Collins. And so it really developed me and groomed me to make advancements in leadership and to work with others to really appreciate what teamwork is all about. So Tennessee State University submitted a proposal, and so we now have the NAILD program. It became effective in October when the first group to come to Nashville attended that particular seminar here. And I have also affiliated myself with the University of Missouri at Columbia, where I attended a summer institute on aging focusing on gerontology. So in just, that's my educational background, and I have to say that I'm quite proud that I have made the achievements as I have.
And of course, I think that with that background, you can bring us some excellent information, especially dealing with family life and relationships. Now, you are a family life specialist in the Department of Extension at Tennessee State University. Now, exactly what does that mean, being a family life specialist? Give us some kind of definition in terms of the range of things that you do.
Oh, sure. Some years ago, the area was considered as home economics, but within recent years, the name has changed. And at Tennessee State University, we come under Family and Consumer Sciences. And so in part, some of the programmatic areas I give attention to consist of Relatives as Parents program, which initially started as grandparents raising grandchildren. Also, we look at other aspects of parenting and nutrition and consumer education. So under the grandparenting program, we realized that there are many reasons why grandparents and or other relatives are giving care to dependent children. And some of those reasons in part are parents may be deceased or divorced or ill, economic problems, some are incarcerated. So there are a lot of reasons why relatives are taking care of these dependent children. And there are problems that are associated within some families when it comes to these relatives who are taking care of children. Money is a major problem because many people are not aware that there are resources that are available to them that will allow them to do a better job in taking care of these dependent children. And we have worked with various aspects of correction with the State Department of Correction, and we have worked also with the Davidson County Sheriff's Office, where if we have a parenting program in place now, with the Sheriff's Office, and of the past, we dealt with parenting and job readiness training with the State Department of Correction. So what we do is to advocate strengthening the family arrangement where inmates can have a better relationship with their children and can parent from a distance. We know that many inmates come into the city from far corners of the state, and so their children are unable to visit with them, but they can keep in contact with their children and really keep abreast of what the children are doing with their lives. We have a nutrition education program for which we received a little better than $250,000 funding for, to really enhance the awareness of individuals where they would change their behavior, where they would eat more healthy and will purchase their foods and be more aware of what is involved when they go to do their shopping at the supermarket.
Now, so all of these are part of Family Life, the extension program, and you actually carry this program out into the communities. This is not a program that you invite folks in to, for the most part, but you are actually out in the community, meeting the parents and et cetera. What are some of the things that you might be able to tell us? And I'm almost sure that we're making preparation for our first commercial break. But with your background dealing with the elderly and grandparents, what are some of the things that you might be able to say are some of them probably the least understood or perhaps the least known aspects of parenting as a grandparent and that kind of information?
Well, one of the things that I would like to convey is the fact that there are many grandparents who are raising grandchildren who are caught up in what they call, quote unquote, the sandwich generation. And that is, these grandparents, many of them have their own dependent children they are trying to raise, and then they also have their grandchildren they're involved with, and they have aging family members they are trying to take care of. So there's a lot of stress and strain emotionally, physically, and financially upon these individuals who are involved. But one of the things that we want to express and let the public know is that we encourage forming support groups to come together where people who are in similar situations can come together and discuss the problems and how these problems can well best be addressed. And so this is in part, as I mentioned, the problems that they are experiencing, how to be able to cope and to tap on the resources that are available to them.
Yes, I think in a real sense, these are some of the things that we rarely think about when we think about grandparents and et cetera. We simply assume that all the resources are available. But what you're saying is that these are some individuals that in many instances might be struggling themselves in order to, quote, make ends meet, and then they've got the responsibility of other individuals that I never thought about that you're mentioning here, about their own dependent children, and they are watching the grandchildren of their own dependent children, and then they've got other individuals. So it's a real problem for these individuals.
It is a real problem, and as I mentioned, many are in financial, straits, and what some of the grandparents are having to do, some have come out of their jobs on retirement, and they're having to return to work because they need to make ends meet, to take care of extra people who are now a part of their household, who initially were not a part of the household prior to their retirement.
Very good. And of course, Dr. Hunter, we're getting ready for our first commercial break, and after which we'll come back and we'll give you an opportunity to talk about, say something else about your grandparent program, as well as some of the other activities and some of the other programs that you're involved in at Tennessee State University. And of course, we'll be back with our audience following this very, very short commercial break. The topic is family life.